So what do you do? How do you deal with problems that we invariably encounter?
Well, you just saw what happened with Carnival, right? I think one of the best things to do is seek out the advice of a professional travel agent. If you can do that, you can avoid a lot of headaches because they know what a lot of these hidden fees are, and when something goes wrong, they can step in and help you out.
You know, it's funny you say that. If I talk to 10 people on the street, 9 out of 10 will say it costs more to use an agent. Absolutely false. The supplier, the person who you're actually traveling to or with, they pay the commission to the travel agent. It actually doesn't cost you a thing to use a travel agent in most circumstances.
Thousands of travel agents across the country took a poll and named the top travel destinations, how to get there and where to stay.
This is going to be interesting. Mark Murphy, travel expert and publisher of Vacation Agent Magazine, is here to discuss the survey results.
So these are real experts in the subject, not the people that actually do the travel.
Right.
Well, the travel agents sell most cruises, tours, resorts. About 80% of all cruises are booked by travel agents. So they're selling millions of consumers on these cruise ships, and they're getting their feedback, but they're also getting feedback themselves on what happens when things go wrong on a cruise and how they can fix it for their customers.
They get all the calls.
It actually doesn't cost you anything to use a travel pro, which is kind of ironic because people went away from using travel agents. They thought self-service, do-it-yourself, save money. Actually, they waste a lot of time, and they think they're getting a great deal, but that's not necessarily the case. Not necessarily the case.
A lot of people, they try to do it on their own, and then logistically, it's just a nightmare, and all of a sudden you're stuck somewhere in Cincinnati, and you're supposed to be somewhere else. You say a travel agent's kind of like your personal panic button. Explain this.
All right, well, you just mentioned you end up in Cincinnati. Now what do? You get in line with everybody else, or you call the 800 number for the airline to try to get rerouted. I would say book with a travel professional. Always go with a pro when you have a group. The reason is they'll do all the work for you. They'll get the profile of the individual travelers. They'll put it together for you. They'll make recommendations. They'll really be your online travel filter. And then you can choose from the suggestions, and it doesn't cost you any more money. In fact, you typically save money, which is not known out there for a lot of people.
Now, I know there are some cruise companies or cruise lines that are known as the party boats, and then there are those that are more family-centric. Which are which? Can you give us some idea of which are the better ones for family versus just going and having a good time? Sure.
I think if you look at many of the Carnival brands, it depends on where you want to be. There's the mass market brand like Carnival Cruise Line. There's Royal Caribbean that's owned by Royal Caribbean International, and those are both great products, and they're different to some extent. They have different features, and what I would suggest you do is talk to a travel agent because there's about 190 ships you can choose from just under the CLIA umbrella, and you want to get matched with the right ship, especially if you're taking a family. I mean, you could choose from dozens and dozens of great ships that all have little ins and outs that might fit you better. My best advice is talk to a travel professional. Too many people get overwhelmed by the internet. Go talk to a travel professional. Certainly check out the supplier websites, but understand if you go to the Carnival website, great cruise line, they're not going to send you to Royal Caribbean if it's a better fit. So talk to somebody who's impartial and give you advice. These are travel agents, travel professionals. They sell $100 billion of travel. They sell 70% of all cruises and tours, 60% of all international airline tickets, which surprises a lot of people. They're alive and well, and they're getting feedback not only from themselves with the interaction with the supplier, but from millions, tens of millions of consumers that they sell every year on some of these great products.
What are your best travel tips you have for people that are planning vacations, they want to take a trip? What would you recommend?
Okay, first and foremost, talk to a travel expert. I think too many times we think we can do it on our own.
I know one. I know this guy.
No, not me. I'm talking about a travel agent.
Okay, a travel agent.
Go talk to a travel agent. You have them all over the city here. You can get to them online. They have expertise. Many of them are trained by different suppliers and different destinations and have traveled to these places. Worst case scenario, they get the feedback from customers who've been there, who tell them the pros, the cons, what they liked, what they didn't like, and they build really a knowledge base that they can share with you.
So then, when is a good time to plan a trip to Ireland?
Okay, well, right now I'd start planning.
Okay.
And I would talk to a travel agent, and I would make sure you look at buying a package or a tour, like an escorted tour, because that's the best way to package together the air, the hotel, the transfers, the entry to all the attractions, and that gets you the best price point. There's a company called Brit Movie Tours that will take you around to different sets, including Highclere Castle for Downton Abbey, so you can experience what the set is like and what the experience is like there. So there's lots of different options to put it together. One of my best travel tips is talk to a travel agent to put it all together for you, because there are so many options.
So you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Somebody who has experience with. Mark, thanks for coming on tonight.
A couple other things. Call a travel agent. I just stayed at the London Hotel, independent property on 54th Street last week. $349 rate.
Oh, here in New York.
In New York City. But I got $100 food and beverage credit, and I got a free breakfast. And so it brought me a effective breakdown of $200. By the way, I booked it with a travel agent. They had access to a special hotel program that they're part of. These guys know some of the ins and outs.
So we're supposed to start using travel agents again?
Absolutely.
I thought it was over.
Travel agents sell 60 to 70% of all cruises, tours. They sell 60% of all international airline tickets, and they are a great service provider that give you a high touch, married to the high tech,
in the marketplace.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about the tips for how we can trick them since they're trying to trick us.
All right. So first tip is realize that you're going to London, 60% of the airline tickets, some cases 70%, are booked by traditional travel agents, which most people forget. And many of those airline tickets can be booked through a package, through a tour operator. And what tour operators do is they negotiate with the airline, they negotiate with the hotel, car rental, they package it together, they pass the savings on to you.
Where do you find those packages?
Well, many of them are wholesaled, so they're only available through traditional travel agents. Your local American Express or an affiliated shop with any number of different organizations, AAA for example. So that's my best tip. Book with a travel agent, get a package, and that package deal will pass the savings on to you.
If you have travel insurance and you either want to get out of a cruise or you're on a cruise that goes awry, you get your money back?
Not necessarily. So what you have to do is you have to look at what that insurance is. So there's trip interruption insurance, there's cancel for any reason insurance. So just like every other insurance policy, you got to read between the lines. And I always say talk to a travel professional because they can basically separate the wheat from the chaff when it comes to that.
That helps because, you know, nowadays we just book things online. I mean, I miss the old days of travel agents. They used to be able to sort it out.
It's funny you say that. They're not the old days anymore. They still book 70% of cruises, 70% of tours, 60% of international airline tickets. And people forget that. And so a lot of people who went to the web are going back to traditional travel agents for that exact reason. There's so much information out there. How do they sort through it all? One of the biggest challenges is connections because now a lot of these secondary markets don't have nonstop service to let's say destinations like Cancun. So now you have to route through Atlanta or route through Cincinnati or route through Salt Lake City, depending on where you're going. The challenge with that is there's so many combinations that you can see layovers of 16 hours when you go on an orbitz.com. That's why I always recommend you talk to a travel.
A layover 16 hours?
They'll show you, hey, an $899 fare. The fare looks great, and then you look at the detail, and it's a 16-hour layover, and you go, well, that doesn't make any sense. And that's because there's all these different combinations, and that's why you want to talk to a travel professional. They can sort through all of that. Most people don't realize they sell 60% of international and 40% of domestic airline tickets, and it's a great way to have them figure it out for you, the best route at the best price.
Now, do you have a site where I can go to find somebody to take on these things?
I own a site called traveltribe.com. You can go there and ask advice. There's no
about men? How to find a...
well, not go to Match.com.
Oh, Match.com.
Yeah, Match.com. Right, you're looking for the date, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I can't help you with the date, but I can help you with finding a good traveler.